Hello BookTube, welcome back to my 2026 library tour. In this episode I have moved to the other side of my bed and I'm going to be starting on two bookcases stacked on top of each other. The first bookcase here was built by my grandfather about 30 odd years ago. The sibling bookcase to this one currently houses One Piece. So the books or the volumes on this bookcase are series that are still active that I'm actively collecting. So let's get started. So first up is one of my favorite new series, and that is Kagurabachi by Takeru Hokuzono. Kagurabachi is about a young man named Chihiro whose father was a blacksmith specializing in forging enchanted katanas. One day before the series began, a group of criminal sorcerers called the Hishaku attacked the family house and killed Chihiro's father. Chihiro took up his father's final enchanted blade and over the course of 2 years trained with the sword so that he could hunt down the Hishaku and enact bloody revenge. This series is amazing. The art, the storytelling is it's really, really good. This is volume 1. Volume 2, Volume 3, Volume 4, and Volume 5. Volume 6 came out in February, and I will get it sometime soon. And I'm really looking forward to it. I'm really looking forward to seeing where Kagurabachi goes from here. This is DanDaDan by Yukinobu Tatsu. This is another relatively recent series that I'm really enjoying. It's about two teenagers. Momo believes in the supernatural. She does not believe in the extraterrestrial. And Ken does not believe in the supernatural, but he believes in the extraterrestrial. So the two make a bet. And they will go to a place that is reputedly haunted and reputedly visited by extraterrestrials. And Momo and Ken, who goes by the nickname Okuran, learn that in this world, both the supernatural and the extraterrestrial exist. And their encounter with both lead to both of them becoming empowered. Momo's latent telekinetic abilities are awakened, and Okuran is possessed by a malevolent spirit called Turbo Granny. Together, the two go on a number of adventures alongside an increasingly kooky cast of similarly empowered teenagers. This series is just amazing. The artwork, the storylines these characters find themselves involved in, it's a wild ride. So this is volume 1. Volume 2, with Okuran being more prominently featured. Volume 3. Volume 4. Volume 5, Volume 6, Volume 7, Volume 8, Volume 9, Volume 10, Volume 11, Volume 12, Volume 13, Volume 14, Volume 15, and Volume 16. Volume 17 releases in February, so I should be getting that volume probably, if I'm lucky, next week, but probably will be the first week or so of March, because I don't actually think any volumes of series that I'm actively following come out in the last week of February. So next up is A Dead Rock by Hiro Mishima. This is Hiro Mishima's current series, although I've heard he is in the process of working on a new weekly series. Dead Rock is a monthly series and is about a young man named Yakuto who joins Dead Rock, a school for monsters and demons and gods who, if they graduate, are given parcels of the human world to rule however they see fit. Yakuto's goal is, however, to find a way to kill the headmaster of Dead Rock, a being calling himself God. This series is more explicit, more violent than Mishima's usual work, and it is quite a bit of fun, although perhaps not Mishima's best work. I have long thought about having a Mishima bookcase, but I'm not entirely sure if I ever will. So this is the first volume. This is the second volume. And this is the third volume. The fourth volume releases in February, and I think I will again get it in the next week or two. Next up is Four Nights of the Apocalypse by Nakaba Suzuki. This is the sequel series to The Seven Deadly Sins, which is right there behind me. So in Four Nights of the Apocalypse, 4 superpowered teenagers are foretold to bring about the downfall of a corrupted King Arthur and his artificial Camelot. And so the 4 gradually gather and go on adventures to try to bring about this prophecy. I've been enjoying Four Nights of the Apocalypse. It is a pretty fun series. So this is volume 1. Volume 2. Volume 3. Volume 4. Volume 5. Volume 6. Volume 7. Volume 8. Volume 9. 10, Volume 11, Volume 12, Volume 13, Volume 14, and they're starting to go wonky on me. Volume 15, Volume 16, Volume 17, Volume 18, Volume 19, and Volume 20. I don't remember if the next volume is coming out this month or not. It's either coming out this month or next month. Next up is Dark Gathering by Kenichi Kondo. This is a contemporary horror series about a young man named Kaitoro who can sense the supernatural and is attractive to the supernatural. Before the series began, he and his best friend Aiko are cursed, and this leads to Kaitoro becoming a shut-in. However, through the help of his family and Aiko, he came out of his shell and re-entered the world. And to help with this, he has become a tutor, and his first student is Aiko's young cousin Yayoi. Yayoi can see ghosts, and her hobby is to go to incredibly haunted locations with incredibly dangerous ghosts, kick their asses, and forcibly conscript them into her army of similarly malevolent spirits that she's building so that she can take on a monstrous embryonic entity that kidnapped the spirit of her mother a year and a half before the series began. This series is wild and incredibly fun. Although it did take me a little bit to really get into the series. But I'm very happy that I did, because it is really good. So this is Volume 1. Volume 2. Volume 3. Volume 4. Volume 5. Volume 6. Volume 7. Volume 8. Volume 9. Volume 10. Volume 11. Volume 12. Volume 13, Volume 14, Volume 15, Volume 16, and Volume 17, which is the most recently released volume. Next is Demons of the Shadow Realm by Hiromu Arakawa. Arakawa is most famous for her series Full Metal Alchemist. Demons of the Shadow Realm is about two twins, Yoru and Asa, who were born and raised in a hidden village in Japan that is still lives as if it's the Sengoku or early Tokugawa period. One day at the beginning of the series, the village is attacked by raiders, led by a woman who appears to be Asa. Yoru flees the village with a individual Tadera, who helps bring in supplies to the village, alongside two demons who guard the village left and right. And together they try to figure out who is this Asa and what's really going on. This series is a lot of fun. I've been quite enjoying it ever since it has started. So this is Volume 1. Although Arakawa's best work is still Full Metal Alchemist, Volume 2. Volume 3. Volume 4. Volume 5. Volume 6. Volume 7. Volume 8. And the most recent volume, Volume 9. I'm not entirely sure when the next volume comes out. I need to look into that. Because Square Enix publishes the series instead of Viz, so. And I don't really look too much into what they're up to, because this is the only series from them that I follow. So next is Todobound Hanako-kun by Aida Iro. This is one of the series that really got me back into manga in 2021. It's a crazy story about a young woman named Nene, who is told that if she goes to a specific toilet stall in her school, she can summon the spirit known as the Todobound Hanako-san and be granted a wish. She does so, and in this case, Hanako-san is actually the ghost of a young boy named Amane, so he's Hanako-kun. And Nene makes her wish, it goes terribly, and the price of getting her out of this wish is for Nene to become Amane's assistant. And together, and alongside a young trainee exorcist named Ko, they work to maintain the balance between the living and the supernatural at the school, which is incredibly haunted. Complicating matters is the ghost of Amane's twin brother, Tsukasa, and his friends in the school broadcasting club. So this is Volume 0. which features an alternate pilot or chapter for the series, and also a one shot of a series that was not picked up. Not particularly fond of this volume, to be honest. Colorbound Hanako-kun properly starts with Volume 1, which is where the fun begins. I love the artwork, the storylines. I'm not entirely sure about where things are going currently, but for most of the run, I really liked Colorbound Hanako-kun. This is Volume 2. Volume 3. Volume 4. Volume 5. Volume 6. Volume 7. Volume 8. Volume 9. Volume 10. Volume 11. Volume 12. Volume 13. Volume 14. Volume 15. Volume 16. Volume 17. Volume 18. Volume 19. Volume 20. Volume 21. Volume 22. And Volume 23, which is the most recent volume. I'm not entirely sure when Volume 24 comes out. I need to look into that. Okay, let's move you two over some, because I'll get you two at the end. Because I'm going to go ahead and just finish this bookcase off in this episode. So next up is Mission Yozakura Family by Hitsuji Gondaira. So this is a story about a young man named Taiyo, who years before the series began lost his family and has been in a depression ever since. He was pulled out of this through the kindness of his best friend Matsumi. Unfortunately for Taiyo, Matsumi Yozakura is the head of the Yozakura family, a family of superhuman spies. And Matsumi's oldest brother, Kyoichiro, has a very disturbing obsession with his sister, and that includes trying to kill any male friends that she has. So the only way to save Taiyo is for him to marry Matsumi and become the patriarch of the next generation of the Yozakura family. In each generation of the Yozakura family, most of the siblings are in some way or other superpowered, except for one. And this individual is the mother, the matriarch of the next generation. So Mission Yozakura family is a hoot of a series. The siblings are just wild and crazy. The adventures they go on are wild and crazy. It's a wild ride. So the series has ended in Japan, and Viz is slowly releasing the final volumes here in the US. So this is volume 1. Volume 2. Volume 3. Volume 4. Volume 5. Volume 6. Volume 7. Volume 8. Volume 9. Volume 10. Volume 11. Volume 12, which my copy was a little bit screwed up in the printing. Volume 13. Volume 14. Volume 15. Volume 16. Volume 17. Volume 18. Volume 19. And Volume 20, the most recent volume. I don't know if Volume 21 releases this month or next month. I don't quite remember. Anyway, so that wraps up this one bookcase. I'm kind of thinking about moving these volumes to a different bookcase so that I have one that's like active series that I'm really passionately following. But anyway, for now, this bookcase will work. Anyway, BookTube, I will be back tomorrow with the start of the lower bookcase, and see whether or not I can get that in one episode or if it will take a few episodes to do that one. Anyway, BookTube, until I see you later, thank you. Have a great day, and see you soon.